Hi, it's Ron here with just a quick update on EasyBlock. So if you didn't see my previous video, EasyBlock is basically a platform which allows you to invest in the StrongBlock platform, but without having to pay 10 Strong for doing so. So you can invest for as little as $10 to buy a share, and with that, you get paid every 5 days currently, a percentage of what your share's worth, depending on the number of nodes and the price of Strong. So I did do a spreadsheet to work out how much you would get back, but mine was pretty bad. It wasn't very accurate. So I am now using the official EasyBlock reward distribution calculator here, which is much more accurate. It's still not 100% accurate, but it's very hard to be accurate with this type of investment. But basically, as long as you update the number of nodes owned here, you can go to the APY calculator here and pop in how much you're going to invest, and then you'll see what sort of reward you can get potentially in your returns. So currently you can see here the returns 60% a month, 4% per week. It's not 100% accurate, and you can work it out exactly how much you get, how much has been received in the last few weeks, which we'll do so shortly. But I just want to go over some of the changes that have occurred since my initial video here at the start of February. So you can see here at the start, it's a lot more simple, the website. We had just one wallet with 28 nodes purchased, and there were just 616 investors, and shares were just $10 per share. Now if you have a look at the site, you'll see it's a bit more complex, and that's in a good way, because we've now got nearly 200 nodes, which is nearly 2 full wallets worth, and there's well over 1,800 investors. You can see here that the wallets have now been split into 2 separate payments. So rather than getting paid every 7 days, you now get paid every 5 days per wallet that's owned. So wallet 2 is due to be paid in 2 days, and the estimated revenue I'll receive is $36. Wallet 1 will then be paid on the 12th of March, and then wallet 2 will then be on the 17th of March, and it just keeps at the moment going between the two every 5 days in between. So that's one of the new updates, which is really nice. And when we get to our third wallet, that should potentially go down to 4, maybe 3 every 3 days that we'll start receiving payments. Obviously, the utopian goal is to get a payment every day. I think you may need 10 wallets worth or 1,000 nodes. I can't remember. Someone did work it out basically how much you would need before you got a payout every day. But if we go to the official Twitter here, we can see what else has been updated here. So basically, in the past, you could buy a node for $10, as you can see, and there's a bit of a problem with that people were coming in at the last second before the payout and, popping in $100 or however much it would be, and then getting a full payout for not having been in the protocol for more than a few minutes or a few hours. So what they've done is actually add in a new function which makes buying shares a bit different. So it's easier if I just read this out from the page, but basically the dilution problem has been fixed, so buying shares will cost $10 plus the reward amount you're going to be entitled to. So if you come in now, for example, and you buy 1 share, it's going to cost $10.15, because that 15 cents is what is currently sat waiting for you when you buy that 1 share. So you're basically paying for what you're going to get back. So it's not actually, you're not going to lose that money, you will get it back. But to be fair to the rest of the people or the rest of the shareholders, you do get a little tax, inverted commas, to pay beforehand. So you can see here it's calculated by the total amount of non-claimed revenue divided by the total share count plus 10% for a margin of error. They are also going to introduce a experimental sell back shares feature. You'll be able to sell back your shares, and I imagine obviously you won't be able to share them back at the cost that you paid for them. You will probably lose a bit of money on them to make things fair, but that's nice that they are adding these features and continuing to improve the service. So that covers that, and like I say, we're currently at 2 wallets. We're nearly at 3 wallets when we reach 200, which will hopefully be by the end of the weekend. And obviously the main issue that we're having at the moment is that the price of Strong has completely plummeted, as well as the rest of the market. So hopefully it did go down to as low as 150 earlier today. It's popped back up to 176, but hopefully this will head upwards of 200 soon. But obviously no one knows what will happen. I know there's a lot of people selling off their Strong nodes at the moment. Obviously that's nothing that EasyBlock can do anything about. It really does just depend on the price of Strong as to how much you will receive. So you can see here in a couple of days I should get $36, but there is an estimate that the total I will receive on the 7th will be $41. So yeah, it has gone down a lot, but if you use the official calculator, you can get a very rough estimate, like I said, as to what you could potentially get per day. Now, another good thing that they do is they do post the exact details of every payment. So if we have a look at the last payment, which was 3 days ago on the 2nd of March, we can see the total amount paid out was $20,000 to 1823 shareholders. Now they do post all the details here of the claim fees and all the gas fees and everything else that got down to the amount that was distributed. And we can see here basically at the bottom, the reward per share was 24 cents or just under 25 cents. So we can see here, if I do my 300 shares times 0.24995, you can see I should have received just under $75. And here, as I've been keeping track of this, you can see here I did indeed get $75. So for this payment, let's say you had 100 shares. If we do times 0.24995, you'd have received 24,995. So let's just work that out. 24,995. Now 100 shares is equal to $1,000. So you can see it's basically 2.5% on your investment. So 2.5% every 5 days, I still think is really good, especially when you consider how much that Strong has dropped recently. I think 2.5% is quite a nice amount. So like I said, I got $75 of my 3,000, which is 2.5%. So what is the future of EasyBlock? Well, that really depends on the future of Strong. This is obviously potentially a system which could be picked up and plopped on to another type of network, but currently they're just focusing on StrongBlock, and I think that's a good idea just to get this to perfection and then maybe branch out into other projects in the future. So I still think this is a nice little project to get into. Now obviously with my 300 shares I could have bought a node or nearly 2 nodes outright, but then I've got all the hassle of paying the Ethereum gas fees and all the other hassle on top, paying the monthly maintenance fees as well. So I'm quite happy to join this little community that all seem like a nice bunch of guys in the Discord as well. And everyone seems really helpful and yeah, all working together to get this up as high as possible. So because the price of purchasing a node is so cheap at the moment, they are purchasing as many as they can while it's this cheap, and obviously hopefully Strong will go back up in price and we'll be able to get a lot more back on our investment. I still think 2.5% every 5 days is pretty good. I mean, you don't really get that from many other projects, so I'm quite happy with that. And again, like I say, the more nodes that get purchased, the more people will get back. So something I didn't actually point out in the previous video is that EasyBlock actually just pays straight out into your MetaMask. So you can have a look here. You can see I've got 200 USDC in my MetaMask, which is partly from my EasyBlock payments. Now I could compound that and buy some more shares, but I'm going to actually invest it in a few other things as well, because that's a good idea to obviously spread out your investments. But they are also working on an auto compound feature, which will save on fees, which we've seen here. So if people do want to auto compound, it will mean they won't need to be withdrawn from the StrongBlock chain. Now, another thing you should definitely do is check out the AMA, which was published a few days ago. It was actually done on the 20th of Feb, but it did take a while to come onto YouTube. But it's basically all the questions and answers from the developer himself. And it's really good that they've actually taken the time to do this. And hopefully there'll be more AMAs in the future too. But yeah, that's definitely worth checking out. So if you've got any questions at all regarding EasyBlock, let me know down below. In my first video, I did go through getting yourself some USDC on SpiritSwap and purchasing your shares from MetaMask, so check that out. But yeah, it's quite a nice little system. I'm still quite happy with it. And I know the Strong price is quite scary at this sort of level, but you've just got to sit back and not look at it all the time and just, concentrate on other things. Otherwise, you'll probably go crazy. I mean, it's like I said in my previous video today, everything is down at the moment. There is a war going on, so these things are going to happen sadly. But hopefully things will recover and your returns will hopefully get a lot higher. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.